What's going on, guys? Nathan here, and today I want to give you a simple straight draw strategy that's been working very well for me lately, and I think it might improve your winnings at the poker table as well. Alright guys, so today I'm going to walk you step by step through an example hand showing you this easy straight draw strategy that you can start using in your own poker games. This is one of the biggest questions that I get asked by my students, is how to play your straight draws more effectively, more profitably. So we're going to talk about that today. And also at the end, I'm going to give you guys a more advanced strategy for some of you higher stakes poker players that are watching this video. So make sure you stick around for that. Without any further ado, let's jump into it. All right, guys. So the biggest thing you need to understand about how to play your straight draws is that calling all the time is not optimal. This is the biggest mistake that most amateurs make when they catch a straight draw. For example, you have a hand like 9-8 of hearts and the flop comes down with a 10 of clubs, 7 of diamonds, 3 of spades. A lot of amateurs and recreational players, if somebody bets, they'll just call. Now the problem with this strategy, it's not the worst strategy, but the problem is that you're only giving yourself one way to win the pot, and that is essentially by making the best hand, by hitting your straight draw. However, for some of you savvy poker players out there, you already understand where I'm going here. The problem with that, guys, is that you don't make a good hand very often in poker, and specifically with straight draws on the flop, you're only going to hit your hand by the river roughly 25% of the time, give or take. So what is the solution here? So the solution here, guys, is that you must raise sometimes also. This is what good poker players and professional poker players have long understood about how to play their straight draws better, is that you must have both a calling and a raising range. And I'm going to talk about another range in the advanced tip later on, but let's talk about this right now. Bluff raising, semi-bluff raising on the flop here. So same hand, you have 9-8 of hearts, flop comes down with a 10-7-3, and let's just assume that one of these tag, tight and aggressive regular players, this is a good player, we're not talking about a recreational player here, they bet $25 into a $50 pot. Standard continuation bet. I'm sure you guys have been in this situation many times before. So again, you could just call in this situation. After all, we're getting decent pot odds, but we already talked about how that limits our paths to victory in this hand. What we can do instead sometimes is raise it up here to $100 instead. And what this does is it puts tremendous pressure on this player to actually show up with a hand. It also mixes up our play versus a good thinking opponent in order to constantly keep them guessing about what we might have. Now, a lot of people ask me though here, but Nathan, what do you do when they call you? As they always call me here when I raise, so let's talk about that right now. All right, guys, so the solution here is you need to follow up on many turn cards as well. Let's assume that the tag player called you, and let's assume that the turn comes with the king of hearts. So it's a 10-7-3 king rainbow board at this point, rainbow meaning 4 different suits. So the tag checks in this situation. Remember, we have retaken the betting lead at this point. We raised on the flop, so the tag is probably going to check to us the vast majority of the time here. So what should you do on the turn here? Well, guys, it's not the time to get shy. Now is the time to bet again, and bet big. Bet 75% of the pot. Say the pot's $200 or so right now. Bet $150, guys. Don't bet $75. Don't bet $100. What you want to do, guys, when you're bluffing in particular, and I have many videos, by the way, where I've talked about advanced bluffs on the channel here, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss my new videos, and you can check those out as well if you want. But what I've said many times in those videos is, guys, you need to tell believable stories with your bluffs, and you also want to apply maximum pressure. The King of Hearts is an excellent scare card, so that if this player has a hand like Jack 10, for example, Ace 10, they're not going to like this king coming up. You know, a hand with a king in it, they know is definitely a hand that could be in our range here. And also, as mentioned, we want to bet big, guys. You want to apply maximum pressure against these players. You want to give them a real reason to fold. A lot of the reason why a lot of amateurs do not get their bluffs through, why they just get called down again and again, is because they bet tiny amounts. And I'm just going to call you down when you bet your $50 into a $200 pot here, because you're not giving me a real reason to fold. Guys, you want to put your foot down and let people know that you're serious. You're not screwing around. Now, Now finally, let me move on to a more advanced tip here. Another way to play this hand for some of you guys who are playing at higher stakes, and that is an advanced turn semi-bluff raise. Now this is something that I talk about in my new Elite Poker Training University, 17 plus hours of advanced training. I have an entire video actually talking about how to do this float and then semi-bluff raise on the turn strategy. Enrollment is open right now. I'll include links below for that, but let's talk about the strategy here. So instead of raising on the flop, guys, what we could do instead is just float. Now a float in poker, for those of you guys who don't know, is a call on the flop when you are in position, and that is crucial. And in position means you are last to act in the hand. Now the reason why we do this is to take away the pot on a later street, aka the turn or river. This is where a lot of people go wrong, is they just call on the flop, but they don't try to take the pot away later on. They're kind of just making random plays for no reason. So guys, when we float the flop, it is always with the clear intention to take it away later. When we just call on the flop here, our intention is to raise on the turn. This is an advanced play that you want to mix in sometimes. I would not suggest using this line a large percentage of your range. You should be just calling flop or raising flop a little bit more often. And I would also highly recommend never using this play against recreational players, because they're just going to call you down. You're just going to get frustrated on tilt. But against good thinking players in higher stakes games, guys, you want to have more weapons like this. You want to be able to take this line. Maybe it's only 10% of your range, but you want to be able to mix this in sometimes, because it's going to make you infinitely more difficult to play against. You can also use even more advanced strategies like a double float river raise. I also have an entire video on that in my new Elite Poker Training University. I'll link all of that up in the description below. But guys, I hope that this one helped. Like and subscribe if you found this video helpful. Let me know how you play your straight draws in the comments below. And lastly, if you want to know my entire strategy to smash the small and mid stakes games in particular, make sure you grab a copy of my free poker cheat sheet. I'll also link that up in the description below. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I appreciate you. I'll catch you next time. This has been Nathan Williams with blackgreen79.com.